This post, this type of situation is one of the reasons why I try to tell women not to completely lose themselves because you are a wife and mom. Do not become completely enmeshed in a relationship because you will lose your individual identity. And it is important to remain that human that you were, despite the fact that, yes, you now have the additional title of wife and mom. This woman asked this question in the Ask Old People Advice subreddit. She says, finding yourself after divorce. She says, I was married for 20 years, now divorced with 3 teenagers. The ex and I still live in the marital home. Amicable enough. The home is paid off, so it financially makes sense for us to stay here, raise the kids, and let them have a single place to call home. The ex has found someone new. The kids really like the new person. I'm floundering, feeling stuck, unable to move forward. I'm nearly 50. Thankfully, I have a steady job and a lot of time off. However, I am really struggling to find myself. This isn't the life I planned, and I just do not know who I am anymore. I feel as though I'm being erased since my ex goes on vacations with our kids and his new partner. I have internal wounds to heal, so I am not dating. How does one find themselves, become confident after being the discarded partner, and learn to love yourself? I am in therapy and on antidepressants. Any advice or stories are appreciated. This is one of the reasons why I do not believe in man and woman become one. You are an individual and whole person before you get married, and you need to remain that person. You need to still have hobbies, friends, organization, things of your own, and just come together with your family. Because if you give it up completely, you begin to lose yourself, and then you have to rebuild all of that. Thinking about rebuilding a whole life from scratch after 20 years is daunting. But if you kept some bit of yourself, some of your friends, some of your hobbies, then you're not completely building from scratch. Yes, you still have to heal from the breakup, but you're not like having to figure out, how do I go out and make friends after 20 years of this not being part of my life? Please take this type of post as a cautionary tale and don't do this. Jagger says, sometimes what makes financial sense doesn't make emotional sense. So Cal Gal says, on point. I'm in the same boat as the OP, a few years older. Staying in the same house, though initially seemed like a good idea, mainly because of finances, isn't very healthy, really. It takes longer to detach and become your own person. I'm struggling with that. M. Den says, you'll never be able to heal or develop who you are stuck in that house. Time to cut the cord, call the lawyer to get 50% custody, and move out. Stay positive for yourself. I ate dinner on the floor of an apartment with my kids for like 6 months while I picked up the pieces. Just get going on it, or you're going to go insane. More insane. Ka says, I had the same experience. X wanted the arrangement that OP has, not me, and my parents agreed with me, but I couldn't live with them either. Eating dinner without furniture is a small price to pay. I did expand my friend group. Key discussion says this: time for you to move out and move on. Golf says, or ex and girlfriend move out and on. So obviously, in order to start the healing process, she's going to have to detach, like they said. But I mean, like, how do you heal seeing this person every single day and how they are just happily skipping along and their life hasn't been impacted, but yours has? So this, she has to do that. It is going to she's going to take a hit financially, but she needs to do this in order to heal mentally. All right, y'all. Like I said, this was just a cautionary tale. Please don't do this. Don't do this. Don't completely lose yourself because it is not healthy in the long run. So I think this is a man posting this in the unpopular opinion subreddit. He says people in relationships need to stop focusing on the minor negative traits of their partners. He says the first word in settling down is settling. Nobody is in a committed relationship without settling in some form. I'm not talking about taking weaponized incompetence on the chin or forgiving a cheating spouse. I'm talking about wiping their crumbs off the counter or swapping the laundry because they're a bit forgetful. I hear often about blowout arguments my friends have with their spouses over things as stupid as leaving the milk out. Get over yourself. You're not perfect either. And at the end of the day, it's easier to just put the damn milk away than it is to argue about. I think this is a man because this is basically describing some of the things that women supposedly nag about. And when women express something, a concern, and the person doesn't listen, it becomes are you going to accept this over and over and over? Like this person is always throwing his laundry right there on the floor instead of in the laundry hamper. This person is always doing this that I find to be inconsiderate, and I express that I feel a way about this inconsiderate behavior, and he doesn't fix it. Why should I have to keep repeating myself only to be ignored? It's not that it just happens one time. It's I have to continue to clean up after an adult human that should be able to do this for themselves because in other parts of their lives outside of this home, they are completely competent. So, Retro Metro Show says often blow ups about things like leaving the milk out are really about a lot more than leaving the milk out. It could be leaving the milk out all the time and the fact that it's wasting money all the time. Do you have a lot of money to waste? I don't know. Maybe they do. And that's what Magic Persia says. Yeah, it's about leaving the milk out 100 times. I get your point though. The OP says, I don't know. I keep going out with my friends and this is the stuff they complain about. It's never a big thing. It's always something stupid, like little irritating thing that is so easy to ignore. This person below says, right, but what this person is saying is that those minor grievances are not real. Underlying problems, people have a way of fixating on the little stuff that's visible, overt, or makes them feel annoyance in the moment. When that annoyance is actually a symptom of some deeper issues, chances are they aren't even aware of what those underlying problems are. Retro Metro Show says sometimes big issues like money problems or staleness in the bedroom are harder to talk about when they fester and boil over, and something small comes up and it all comes out in frustration. That's the reason why communication is important and not letting the things fester and become bigger problems, because sometimes the little things can fester and become the bigger issues, like feeling like someone isn't listening to you, someone not taking your complaints into consideration. Guy wasting time says just because they aren't telling you about it doesn't mean there isn't a larger underlying issue. Chaos, yes, exactly. He's talking to the OP, where the OP was talking about. Seems like they are always just complaining about small stuff. Just because they aren't telling you that it's something bigger doesn't mean there isn't something bigger. Chaos Azeroth says, yes, and I'm constantly in pain, and my body is absolutely a piece of yet. A lot of the times, the complaints I vocalize are in the more category of stupid little things that bother. Sometimes people just don't think that the big things are as socially acceptable to complain about, or the little ones are just easier to focus on. Exactly. You're out at a bar, you're hanging out with your friends. You're not going to tell them the big things that are bothering you in your marriage or your relationship. People aren't really going to do a deep dive like that. Hey, what is that thing? He says. Same. A friend of mine had a breakup with his girlfriend, and all of his complaints were about her minor, easy to solve problems. She wants to bubble tea when we go out. She accidentally almost washed the car with a sponge that touched the ground and could have a rock in it. I kept waiting for him to bring up something significant. I just concluded that they have minor issues like this and no way to deal with them emotionally. Now, let me just insert some humor. So, this was posted in the Tinder subreddit. She simply titled it, I tried. The man says, Mommy? She's like, no. He's like, damn, can I try again? She says, yes. You get one retry. He says, suffocate me with your thighs. She says, nope. He says, F. That's all I got. This definitely made me laugh. I really want men to try a little bit harder, try to get a little bit more creative when you're talking to women, because this is inappropriate, but it does make for a funny screenshot. But stop doing this. Stop talking to women all crazy like this. All right, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about the first one with talking about the don't dwell on the small things. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. We've already seen, or I've talked about how Gen Z men and women are diverging on politics. They are not coming together. And we've already talked about how liberal women don't want to date conservative men politically. It's just not going to work because there are some fundamental issues that will crop up, like what is coming up in this post. There are some things that cannot be compromised. If somebody is pro life, you as a pro-choice woman cannot compromise with that. Somebody's religion, if they are extra religious, you cannot compromise with that. Down the line, there will be issues. Okay, let's jump into this. It was posted in the relationship advice subreddit. They're both 20. She says, my boyfriend suddenly told me that he is pro-life and I'm pro-choice. Can people with different values work out? Not these type of values. They cannot. She says, I've been dating my boyfriend for a year and 7 months. When we entered our relationship, he told me he was pro life, to which I respected to a certain extent because of his religious upbringing. But before we got actually active, I made it clear that if we were going to have actual activities and I ended up pregnant, I would be terminating. He agreed and said he would support me in my choice, and we've had a normal, safe ex life since then. Recently, because of the upcoming election, we've been talking about pro choice versus pro life. And I was explaining to him real life situations happen due to the abortion ban. And when I was asking him if he understood, he said yes. But I felt something was wrong. So I asked him if I was pregnant right now, would he support me terminating? And he said no. I immediately got confused because he had told me he would and let me think I had his support for the entirety of our relationship because we've had pregnancy scares, mostly because we have anxiety. And the only thing holding me down was that he would support me in any choice I make. They lie. Ladies, these people lie. They lie. It's a manipulation tactic. They tell you what you want to hear. They know what you want to hear, so they tell you what you want to hear. Stop believing everything. Recognize that they lie. They manipulate. These are manipulation tactics. They lie, they lie, they lie. They tell you what you want to hear. Sorry, I had to remind everybody that they lie. I'll probably remind us again throughout this post. I told him it was selfish and wrong of him to put me in that position for his own immaturity and actual desires. When I asked him how he could have lied to me for so long, he said he wasn't lying and didn't realize until now. I don't believe that because I think opinions on pro life and pro choice is something you know deep down, what you agree with. So if you know this, why did you believe him? He started to cry and said he would own up to it and we would stop having intimate relations. But to me, that's not the point. I told him I have to think about our relationship now because I don't know if I can be in a relationship with someone with different values and morals as me. He continued to cry and said he would support me in my beliefs and he doesn't want me to leave or change. I know he truly loves me and he would never try to convince me to be pro life, but I just don't know if I would even be myself to get married to someone who's truly so different. I wouldn't identify as a feminist or who I am married. I'm sorry, if I married him, right? Or would it all be fine since he doesn't push me to be someone else? To be clear, I respect pro life people to a certain extent, and I don't argue with people who stand clear on their ground. They are who they are, and I am my own person. What do I do? You leave him, you're young, you're 20 years old. That's it. That's all. You got with him. You've been together for almost 2 years. That means that you got with him as a teenager. You still have room to grow and change. So does he. But at this current iteration, you guys are not compatible. Your Glacier says, yeah, I dated a guy on and off for like 7 years. It was a toxic relationship. He was 100% pro choice and honestly more liberal than I was when it all started. He even liked the idea of universal income. When we broke up in 2020, the final straw, and it should have been over so long ago, was him telling me Shapiro had some good points. And I was being a reductionist to say I didn't want to listen to anything Shapiro had to say about some abortion. He had become 100% pro life and worse, acted like he always was. They can't hide it for long. Yeah, you don't just flip a switch like that. That's kind of wild. Reindeer Moon says, I dated a guy in college who I actually met through a left wing organization we both volunteered for. I recently looked him up on social media. 25 years later, he's now an anti immigrant pew pew nut. The wild thing is social media gives us insight into who some of these people are, and they will tell you who they are. This is another big reason why you have to really, really know yourself before getting into a relationship so that you don't compromise too much of yourself. You just have to find somebody that is more in alignment with the big values that you have. Polaroid Fadeaway says, yep, that is exactly why I will never get married to or cohabitate with a man. I have seen this exact thing happen too many times to give them the benefit of the doubt anymore. This these conversations are why women are going to become entrenchedly more 4B or child free by choice, because women are kind of tired of being taken for the okey doke when we are saying these people lie and giving the game on manipulation tactics. No Anteater says, this is part of why I'll never do it again. I can't get pregnant anymore, but my agency is important to me. See, yep, there she goes. 4B for life. And I agree. I just cannot trust a patriarchal man ever. Too many bait and switches decades in. See, they're still talking about 4B in social media platforms. And I hadn't read down there, even though it's right there, right in front of my face. And finally, R. Paul at the bottom says, if you ever did get pregnant and terminate, he would never forgive you and he would leave you. Right. Might as well leave now, cut the cord now, heal. You're still young, and just find somebody that's more in alignment with your values. All right, y'all. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Oh, one more thing. P.S. These people will watch you, will watch your social media, will understand what your values are and mirror them. They will mirror them as another manipulation tactic. So you have to be aware that sometimes you have to wait it out for their true selves to come out. Mirroring is a tactic where they know your value system. They can repeat that long enough until the mask drops. So just keep that in mind. Sorry, I had to come back and say that. All right, now, once again, like, comment, and share.